Good morning. This is Wealth Principle 34. We've been doing this for 34 weeks. In total, there will be 52 weeks to wealth, and we're moving through pretty quickly, one lesson at a time. Wealth Principle 34 is, hold on, I got to pull it up. Accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. Write this down. Wealth Principle 34, accept what can't be changed. And we'll do an exercise later, a couple things that can't be changed, but since we're on the topic, how about COVID-19? It's interesting that Wealth Principle 34 comes up during this time, but I guess with it lasting almost a year, there was no getting around it. Accept what can't be changed and create an advantage. Put that on a separate piece of paper or further down the paper. So on the top of the paper, put accept what can't be changed, and we're gonna write a list of things later on. And then down halfway, put create an advantage. And then we're going to write another list of things. So we're real estate investors. Hands to the camera if you're a real estate investor. If you've done a deal, want to do a deal, think the deals are cool. Yes, hands to the camera, all of you. There you go. If you're a real estate agent, you can put your hands to the camera as well. Think real estate investing is a good idea for income for you, for your clients to send some deals. Real estate has done very well for me. It's done well for my business partner. It's done well for a lot of our fellow 100 millionaires. It's done well for our students, for the people in the mentorship program. Let's give a round of applause for everybody who is in the mentorship program, has graduated the mentorship programs, hanging out with us this morning before everything starts. You guys are an inspiration. We were just talking about what Mitch Jorsky said. It's amazing to see how many people are in here that have gone through the program, that are in it, that are being successful. You make this possible. Everything that we've learned from teaching you has helped us build for the next person. So every group that comes through has an unfair advantage over the group before. You see, everybody before was the beta test. So if you were a beta test, give yourselves a round of applause. If you were one of the people that we were like, well, we don't know if this will work, but we're going to give everything we can to help you become a millionaire, a multimillionaire, get you to the next level. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And the reason we keep this going, even after you've graduated the program, like many graduates, hands to the camera if you're a graduate, if you've already been through the graduation or you know the graduation's coming up, excellent. Give them a round of applause. They stay in it with us because they've still got work to do. They still have something they want to work on. If they've hit that millionaire status, they're coaching and they're giving back. If they're close, they're looking to get to the next level. They're already aiming for more. It is challenging to get wealthy. I promise you. I promise you that it is one of the most rewarding things I've done. But it was a challenge. For anyone who's built wealth, they know what I'm talking about. There's a discipline involved. There are challenges. There are things that come up in life that make it seem like it might not be worth it. But I promise, on the other side of it, man, there's nothing more rewarding than being able to give back the knowledge, being able to give back some of the money, some of the experience. There are stories that you're creating right now in your life, right now, during COVID-19, where a year from now, we're going to have these conversations after the whole president election is done. We're going to talk about what we were doing, what you were doing during these months. In 2021, when you're looking back at 2020, there's stories you're going to tell. There's things you are thinking about right now that are stressing you out, that are bothering you, that are challenges, things that can't be changed. And you're going to be laughing about them in 2021. Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. Seen it happen before in your life? Yes. Excellent. So things that can't be changed. I'm I'm a firm believer in writing things down and having physical written exercises. I believe that they help you work things out. So right now, let's write a couple of things that cannot be changed in your life, maybe some stressful ones, things that are causing you the most anxiety, things that are causing you frustration. Write these down now. It could be wearing masks. It could be not being able to go to the gym without a mask on. It may be not being able to sit at a bar. It could be as simple as not being able to go to church indoors, depending on where you're at. and maybe not having the Boston RIA physically live in person. There may be some effects. It could be that your job has changed. It could be that the way you communicate with clients has changed. Write down things that have changed in your life, in your business, in your relationships. Write them down. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Yep. This is your, you're right, Rob. I agree. I love the virtual side of things. Does anybody need more time? Anybody need more time? We've gotten them written down. Excellent. Very good. So now, having all of these written down, if you look at the list, put it in the chat. What does this make you feel? What are the things on this list? What are the emotions you're experiencing when you look at these items on the list? Just share it in the chat so we can get a good idea if we're all on the same page. Yeah, networking in person, having steady income, wearing a mask, replying as Robert Mural. Good. Frustrated, worried, pissed. There you go. Jill, we're honest, right? Being honest. What else? Disappointment, yes. Replying to a lot of DMs and messages. Lily, that doesn't go away, I promise. That doesn't stop. Deals that don't go through, absolutely. How fast are people get their job done? Mitch, that never goes away either. That's not COVID related. So unemployment, yes. So these are elements that are happening. We agree? They're happening right now? Absolutely. Can they be changed? Is there anything you can do to change them? In most situations, these are beyond our power. And so the wealth principle is a two-part principle. This one is accept what can't be changed. Accept it. If you wrote it down at the top, underline or highlight or put in parentheses, accept what can't be changed. This is step one. When I wrote the book, Broke to $250,000, and I'd gone from making $75,000 a year to $17,000 a year, and I'd gone from being happily married to happily divorced, there were a couple of things that I couldn't change about my life. Does that make sense? We agree there was a few things I couldn't change. I couldn't change what I'd already earned or lost, and I couldn't change what my new relationship status was with the person that I'd lost it with. And so there was a time where I didn't want to accept that. And that time was very stressful. Can you imagine? Maybe you've been through it. You know what it's like to have a massive change that you can't control, how it affects you for some time. So that had an effect on me. And as I was moving through and working through it, there was just one day where something in me just snapped, and I said, you know what? From now on, if this can't be changed, what can be changed? What can be done? What can I do? What can I change? Because I can't change anybody else. I can't change the past. I can't change the income I've already earned. I can't change that I quit my job. I can't change that my money has disappeared thanks to a wonderful divorce. I can't change that I no longer have my spouse, my partner, the person that I'd built 2 businesses with. And so what can I change? And what I discovered was I could change my body, and I started going to the gym more. I could change my diet, so I started eating healthy. I discovered that I could change my mind, and so I started devouring books. I started putting in new pieces of information in my head, and I could change the people I was around. And so I started following and finding mentors, people who were ahead of me. Those were things I could change. Does this make sense? These things you could change in your environment right now. Absolutely. I could change my mission. I could change what I was going after. I knew that when it was just about me being happy, being successful, that it didn't always work out the way I wanted it to be. But if I could figure out a plan bigger than myself, to teach, to give back, to contribute, that was something worth looking forward to. That goal, that aim, when that shifted, it shifted everything else. When I decided Well, the concept of 100 millionaires is totally a brand thing, right? This is new. It's a branding thing that Darina helped me come up with. But before we had the number 100 millionaires, building millionaires was already in my head. I was building myself so that one day I could build other people. Does that make sense? Because that was all that kept me going. Because I had no other reason, right? I had no other reason. And maybe you've been to a point where you didn't have or don't have any other options, anything else to try. Try something big. Try something really big that inspires you, that makes you feel good, whether it's legacy wealth for your family, or it's building a business that helps a lot of people, or it's a charity, you know, be able to donate a ton of money to a certain charity. There's something bigger outside of you that'll get you lit up, that'll get you excited every day. Oh, if we can control the mute button on some of these loud people. There you go, brother. Thank you. Give Ron Bowling a round of applause. Best business partner. Keeping the lines under control. Appreciate you, Ron. So there are things you can change, and there are things you can't change. Now that we look at it, let's look at ways to create an advantage. Underneath, looking at the things that you can't change. Masks, for instance. Can't change masks. I mean, it's frowned upon anyway. So you can't change masks. What could you turn that into an advantage? What could you take the mask and make an advantage for yourself? Maybe branding your company. If you have a mask, if you got to wear a mask anyway, might as well wear the brand, right? You can take advantage of the opportunity. If everybody's got to wear a mask, well, you might as well make them wear your mask, wear your brand. This is something I regrettably missed the opportunity on. I did not go and create it. It was on my to-do list for a while, and I just kind of let it go. But my brother did. My brother jumped on it. He's got the AMP Academy masks, and so everybody's wearing his brand, just like he's always done. Everybody wears his pants. Everybody wears his shirts, his sweaters, his hoodies, his wristbands, and now they wear his masks. My brother's phenomenal at branding and making sure other people wear his brand. Does that make sense? That's just one. That's one thing you can't change that's in your environment that you can take advantage of. What else is happening? Write a list down underneath the section, create an advantage. Taking everything you have right now at the top, the negative things, look for the opposite side of it. Look for the advantage to what you've already got written down. This is where the money is. This is where the opportunity is. There are many advantages. So when I was broke, and let me go back to that story. When I was broke and I was struggling and having issues and going through a divorce, I chose a couple of things I could change. I chose my body. I chose my health. I chose my mental state. And as I was improving my health, I started finding more and more people who were doing the same thing. Guys in the gym who were improving their health, right? And then I started going to yoga classes, getting my mind and my body right. And I started meeting people who were like-minded. And then I started going to success events, and I started meeting people who were like-minded. I felt confident because I was in great shape, great health. I knew the books they were talking about. I knew the subject they were talking about. I was in it. I owned real estate. I wasn't doing great, but I owned some real estate, so I was ahead of some people. If you own even one piece of real estate, you're ahead of most people. Does that make sense? Yes, hands to the camera if you own a piece of real estate. Hell yeah. Give yourselves a round of applause. Owning real estate, it's the path to wealth, the path to freedom. And so as I continued going through, I started meeting some really cool people. And these people have become friends. These people I've built businesses with them. And over time, I was no longer, and we're talking a very short period of time. Very short period of time. I was married in 9, 10, 11, and went through the craziest part of my life in 9, 10, 14. On my anniversary is the day we got separated. So in 2015, I was officially divorced, officially broke, officially out of a job and killing it. This is 2020. 2020, I can look around and I say I have the most amazing community around me. Give yourselves a round of applause. Each and every one of you, amazing. Blessed to be surrounded with some amazing coaches that I'm in this with. on a mission, helping build millionaires. 5 years. 5 years went by. Imagine what your life can look like in 5 years. I went from 17,000 a year to thinking, how the hell do I get my taxes down to just 17,000? That would be nice. If I only owed 17,000, it'd be a phenomenal situation. And not having to work. Ron and I were laughing about it yesterday. And by laughing, I mean not being humble at all, about the fact that we haven't worked in a very long time. It's been years. It's been years since we've had to work. I haven't held a job since 2012. Who here has been self-employed for that long? Self-employed since 2012, longer? Give my self-employed heroes a round of applause. You guys are awesome. You know what it's like to be unemployable, to not be able to go back to something where somebody else was the boss. I'm sure not every year was easy, just like my first few years. I'm sure that your first few years were very difficult, stressful, just trying to figure out your budget, right? Just trying to figure out what do you spend, what's an expense. Oh my God, health insurance. There's so many things, so many variables that come up in the beginning, but it worked. You kept going. You've improved. You set money aside. I was sent an article this morning by my mentor, and he's like us, humble brag every so often. He looks at things and he says, wow, look, I'm in the 1%. Again, there's another thing I'm in the 1% on. And it was rental property. And if I can pull up the article for myself here, just so I can reference it and I don't give you bad information. This was set up by the National RIA, the National Real Estate Investors Association. And it says that of all homeowners, 86% of the country own one unit. So if you got more than one unit, you're beating 86% of the country. Does that make sense? Hands to the camera if you got more than one unit. How cool is this group? I don't think you could do this in other groups and half the room would have a unit at least. Moving on, 12% have 2 to 4 units. 2 to 4 units, hands to the camera if you're a 2 to 4 unit landlord. Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're in the 12%. 2%, top 2%, have 5 to 24 units. If you've got 5 to 24 units, hands to the camera, awesome. Top 2% in real estate investing in units. Does this make sense? Give yourselves a round of applause. This is why he laughed. This is why he sent it to me. He said, did you know that the top 1% only have 25 units? If you've got 25 units, hands to the camera. There's a few of us in here. Yeah. All right. Maybe it's just us. So give us a round of applause. That puts you in the top 1% of landowners. Now, my mentor owns 10 times more than that. So, so for him, he's like, this is a joke. No, sir, I think you're just in the 1% of the 1%. I think it's time for you to take in reality. The time passes. Listen to me. The time passes either way. You can beat yourself up over not having a unit, or you beat yourself up for only having a unit. I remember when I had 3 buildings, I still beat myself up. I had 12 units, and I was still saying, man, I'm not a real landlord until I have 4 buildings, until I've got, 12, 15, 16 units. It's got to be 4 buildings because I grew up in Fall River. And, if you were Portuguese, you had 3 multifamilies. It's just being Portuguese, right? Like all of the old guys had 3 multifamilies and a single family. That's just how it worked. And so to me, it wasn't until I had 4 that made me an investor. That's when I felt I'd separated from just being Portuguese, right? Just being Portuguese from Fall River. Now, at the time, I was 28 years old. So that already set me apart from a lot of these guys. But in your head, this thing is a crazy place. In your head, even where we're at right now, we look at it and we say, we could be doing much better. Have you accomplished some big things in your life? Accomplished some really impressive things in your life that other people have said, wow, that's very impressive. You're pretty amazing. You've done really well. And yet in here, you're still saying, I could do better. I could do more. Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's true. You can do more because you got here. But remember, it took you a little while to get there. It took you a little while to get to where you're at. You had to build it up. You had to change. You had to grow. You had to learn. It didn't happen overnight. You became this. You got to this point. So now it's time to create an advantage. Let's put in the chat some of your ideas to create an advantage. For us, I'll tell you some of the advantages as real estate investors. Many of you in the same market, many of you in different markets from us. We took advantage of the fact that nobody could get together anymore to spend time on cleaning house, fix up our marketing, clean up our relationships, clean up our network. We took time to clean up our CRMs. And then once we'd done that, we tested what still works. We still bought properties in 2020. In fact, we bought 25 units in 2020. Who here has bought what the 1% would own in 1 year? I know, it's just us, right? There you go, Roger. Give yourselves a round of applause. In 2020, we bought property. So it's possible, right? Who here is still doing good on their deals that they bought in 2020? Still doing good, still rocking it. Excellent. And Ikram, your brother Saeed, he's doing good too. Trust me, he's killing it. So there is the possibility to buy real estate right now. It's a little tight, for sure. It's a little tough. Guess what? It's been that way since we've been buying. Since 2015, it's been that way. It's been tough. It's been a tight market. It has. Ask any investor from Boston, from LA, from New York, from Miami. They'll tell you we've been in a tight market since 2014, 2015. Hands to the camera if you know what I'm talking about. That hasn't changed. This whole landlord memorandum, all it does is create an opportunity. There are so many landlords out there who don't know how to have a conversation with their tenants. We were laughing about at the cigar shop this week, how Ron the other day is a tenant and he got sent a eviction, not an eviction notice. He got sent a rent increase the other day for $100. Ron, what did you do with that rent increase? Did you tell him to go and collect the rent?
I asked them why they thought they could send out rent increases during COVID. And they were just like, because we can. And so I paid.
So we were joking about it at the cigar shop, and the guys were like, he's a sophisticated investor. He's a real estate professional, and he knows he can get out of it, and he paid because he's a decent human being. That's the reason. But that's who most of your tenants are. If you treat them with respect, if you treat them well, they're good people. They really are, and they do want to pay. And that's the difference between the landlords who are not getting paid right now and the landlords who are getting paid. If you can understand the difference of the memorandum will be over soon, maybe by the end of the year, maybe January, maybe February, who cares? We're still collecting rent. But if you lock property down now with landlords who suck at communicating with their tenants, who don't have a great relationship with their tenants, people tell me all the time they drive for dollars. I can't stand driving for dollars. It's too much time, too extensive for what I'm looking for. And the problem is all I get is garbage properties. All I get is properties that are beat up, right? So if you drive for dollars, I love you. Good job. Keep up the work. I love the properties you send us. But all it is indicative of a property in bad condition. That's not my type of property. I am not the renovator of bad condition properties. I renovate human situations. So I like when tenants are not paying. I like when tenants are not happy, because we come in and we just put a smile on and we be decent human beings and we fix the problems and the tenant starts paying. The tenant is typically very happy. In a situation where you've got a professional tenant where they are just not paying because they're not decent human beings. Remember, they're a very small percentage of the population, very small. And in that situation, well, hopefully you bought the building the way we buy the buildings, where you could handle it, where you could handle a loss on one unit. Does this make sense? The bigger your portfolio gets, the bigger the insurance policy. At 60 units, we can handle 10 not paying. We don't like it. It would be pretty bad, but we have that threshold. Right now, we only have 3 not paying. Actually, I think it's 2 because one's on a payment plan now. And so actually they may all be on payment plans. Ron, have we confirmed that?
Yep.
And
Yeah, they're all on payment plans.
so back in the game, give Ron a round of applause. Property manager, Becky Rosen, which I hate promoting her because I'm like, the busier she gets, maybe she'll have less time for us. But that's not proven true. When we joined her, I think she had 100, 150 units. And I think she's close to 400 right now. And she's still managing us really well.
You know,
So,
I want to say something about the tenants that are not good people or are not paying, and really what's happening with a lot of that. And I have an Airbnb, and the guy who rents me the house that I re-rent has a lot of problems with this. And it's really not the tenants that are bad human beings or don't want to pay. It's that we haven't created the relationship strong enough to create the value that they see paying as a good idea. And so I think a lot of times, even if there's people that are struggling, we as the people who are creating the deal for them haven't got to understand what's going on with that person, that they're deciding that this is the thing that they're going to fight against, because there's all kinds of bills and all kinds of things that we're not going to be willing to pay. But when people are really focused on rent is the thing I don't want to pay, they got something really going on. And, you know, one of the things Walter's really good at, Ron's really good at, is really understanding what's underlying those people, that they tell themselves that not paying rent is the best idea instead of another bill that they can blow off. And so they really understand their people that they're renting to, and they're able to make the deal work. And it's because they understand their people really well that they can negotiate that. And so if anybody's having trouble getting rent, one, talk to them about different ways to do it. And the other is stop thinking that that person just is a jerk and doesn't want to pay, because that's not it. The problem is we have not figured out the way to make the rent valuable to them, whether their place has something wrong with it, whether their attitude towards you or your attitude towards them unconsciously is causing a problem. These are the things that really stop the deal from going through. It's our way of looking at it that we start protecting, that we start defending ourselves, and we start looking at it as a combative situation instead of a situation we're both on the same team.
and I want to be very clear that I am not the reason that my tenants pay. That is 100% our property manager. She is the contact for them. She's the one who has built the relationships, and I don't want to take anything away from her. We encourage the way she builds relationships, and we're very proud of her. But I cannot say that I am in any way the reason that we're still collecting rents. Does that make sense? We just have a great property manager, and she has that human touch. She's very good at building those relationships.
Hold on,
So-
Coulter. Don't discredit yourself, because I've been to one of your properties with you. You're literally like cool with all your tenants, and you're like, oh, you know, talking to them about life and them getting back on the horse and everything. So, and they appreciate that. So don't discount that.
So I do know most of my tenants. I do know most of their life situations, but Becky is the one who has those conversations with us. So thank you, Mitch. I will take a little bit of credit for that.
Well, and it's about knowing your client.
It's about knowing your client, and it's the fact of the matter is, if you didn't have Becky, you would still probably be getting a lot of the tenants paid. And the other piece is you also know what to look for in Becky. So again, and I'm not trying to, you know, build your ego or anything, because it doesn't really need to be done. It's already there. But the reality is this is business 101. If you have a good relationship, you keep a good relationship, and you keep that open, people are more willing to work with you. And that's the point of this little rant, is really, if the person isn't paying or the person isn't buying, it's because you haven't created a value. You haven't helped them understand what the value of paying is.
Yeah, exactly true. So when it comes to taking advantage of the situation, what I want to get back to is, yes, people do pay rent, but that's something for you to be aware of. As you're talking to landlords, as you're going out there and hunting for properties right now, there are ways to get the rent collected. We agree now, after this little conversation, that it's not something to be terribly afraid of. If you can get an estoppel letter signed, if you can get a new lease signed before you close, these are little changes to how the deal has to be done. But if you can get that written agreement that somebody is willing to pay you, willing to make sure that they move forward the right way, you're in a better situation than the previous landlord. That landlord may be giving you a discount because they're not paying, but you may be able to be getting this great deal because you have already built that relationship with the landlord. Does this make sense? Flips. We're in a tight inventory market. Tight inventory market. That means flipping real estate is a good idea. We know that the lenders have chosen real estate. The lenders have chosen flips. Right now, our hard money guys are looking to lend. They're looking to put more projects together. They're giving 10% down instead of 20% down. Commercial lenders have tightened up. Hard money lenders on single family flips have opened up. Does this make sense? Guys in the flip industry, you know what I'm talking about? It's suddenly the easiest thing to lend on because that hasn't tightened up whatsoever. They're just, let's keep going. Let's keep flipping. Inventory is still tight. We think that real estate is going to continue. It's funny because I'm normally the most negative person when it comes to the market and where it's going. But now with interest rates dropped, with all this money they flooded into the market, they flooded over $2 trillion. There was only ever 2.8 trillion in the market anyway. And they flooded over $2 trillion into the market. That means real estate's going up in price. We get that? I mean, there may be a flash crash, maybe a few people who lose their properties, but there's so many people with money out there right now that have been collecting it. I mean, obviously it's not in the hands of the people who just spent it, right? The people who, as soon as that $600 came in, as soon as that $1,200 came in, they were at Walmart, at Best Buy. Yeah, they don't have it anymore. Guess who has it? Walmart and Best Buy. That's what happened. And so those companies, those people have reinvested. They've taken that money, reinvested into something else, create new products, open new stores, hire new employees. The money is recirculating though. It's coming back through. They're spending their money on marketing. It's gone to Facebook. Facebook employees are making money. The money is circulating through the country. It went on Amazon, right? Who helped Bezos get richer this quarantine season? Hand to the camera if you have a pulse, please. We all did. And now he's got his own shipping company, right? Vans everywhere. Amazon vans are half the population of cars. Gotta be. Every other car I see is an Amazon van. So the money is flowing. The money's flowing back. It's moving around. And people are investing. People are investing in real estate. Jobs that were not in existence before are in existence. There's over 2,000 jobs here in Fall River now from our Amazon facility that we didn't have before, that a few years ago got put in. Now those people are working overtime. And so there's jobs everywhere. They're buying houses. This making sense? The money might have shifted. It might have changed hands. And if you didn't catch some of it, you missed out. The money might have changed hands, but it's been moving. It's been here. In fact, it increased in certain areas, shifting around. Who here used some of your money to join this program? The mentorship, the $1,000? Who used some of that cash to join it? Yes. 25 of you, we know because we keep track of the people who've invested in themselves. So there's 25 of you who've spent $1,000. That's $1,000 we were not collecting before. We created a new business. We created a new way to operate in this space because it was something that was pulling towards us. Before, we would do everything in person, and we would do it in person and we keep it small. And then we said, wow, COVID's forcing us online. Let's invite all of our friends from California and Florida in. And as we started to do that, we started noticing there was a business opportunity to charge for the mentorship. Who here knows that there's an opportunity in your business right now just by changing one thing? Changing one little thing. Do it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make that change. Do you know how hard it is to charge for something I've been giving away for free for 3-4 years? I've always been a coach. My first company, as soon as I was a real estate agent, the year later, I was training and hiring real estate agents. So in 2014, I got my license. In 2015, I crushed it. In 2016, I'd started a team of real estate agents. By 2017, I had a team of 25. I was coaching. I was training. That's all I did, coach and train. This makes sense? for free. Did it for free for a long time. And then people asked, well, can I get you one-on-one? And I was like, no, I don't do one-on-one coaching, right? You've heard me say that before. Hands to the camera if you've heard me say I don't do one-on-one. Yes. In the mentorship, you get one with me. One session. It's a powerful session. It's a strategy session. We go tight. But my coaching, like I put my coaching so high in price so that nobody would buy it. I promise. That's literally, ask my business partner, ask my girlfriend. I did it so that nobody would buy the coaching, because the only way I'm going to coach you is if you got so much skin in the game that I feel guilty not doing it. Does that make sense? There's things in your business that people have asked you for that you don't want to do, but if the price was right, you might do it. Fair to say? There's something you think about that you don't ever want to do. You're like, dude, back when I used to swing the hammer, right? I used to work in a flooring company. This is going way back. I think I was 17 years old, 16 or 17 years old. And I used to work for a flooring company. And there was one job that I hated, and it was carrying ceramic tile and palletizing, putting on pallets and moving across the warehouse. It was just grunt work, just terrible. Always jammed your fingers up. Like, and these things are not light. Like, these boxes are like 85 pounds. And I hated it. And it was, dustiest part of the warehouse. Terrible. But my boss, if he ever said to me, look, and I didn't make a lot back then. I was working for $4 an hour. But if he said, dude, I'll give you an extra $20 if you do, I would have been like, yo, I'll tile every day. Like, give me ceramic tile jobs. I'm on it. Like, don't worry about my knees. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about the fingers getting jammed. I was a cheap date, right? It didn't cost me much to do anything then. Now, to get me one-on-one on the phone, who's tried? Who's accidentally tried before? Yeah, it's okay. It's embarrassing. You don't have to put your hands up. But if you've ever tried to call me, I don't. It's like, no, I'm retired, right? But to do it for that high dollar amount, sure, I'm committed. I'm all in. You've got products in you that you don't even know exist. There's things that people have asked you to do that you say you just don't do it. Right? Back when I was a real estate investor, before I got my real estate license, people would ask me to help them buy houses. And I'd say, yeah, it's not my thing. I don't do that. And then I got my real estate license, and I'd still say that. Agents out there who are investors, you know what I'm talking about? Yep. And then I went broke, and then went through the divorce, and suddenly I was reading every sales book you can imagine, and I was hustling real estate. You know what I'm talking about? Real estate agents, yes. Existing agents who have been making money as an agent in this market, it's insane. The opportunities are all over the place. You have opportunity everywhere to explode. Wholesalers, man, you got your work cut out for you. This is a tight inventory market. But if you have your license, you can make a little more. And if you're hustling hard, if you're really, really marketing harder than you've ever marketed, better than you've ever marketed, you can make a killing. You can absolutely make a killing because home prices are up. You can charge us more. We'll pay. So I've got some celebrities on the line here. KP, where are you at? Are you still on? Ketan Patel.
Yes, I'm still on.
There you go, brother. Mind getting your camera on for us so we can see your pretty face?
So I have the same problem as when we were on the call, and I have emailed Zoom several times, and they are still trying to figure out. I've done reinstall. I have done everything. The moment I start, it'll crash the app, and it keeps kicking me out.
All right. So, Ketan, you can keep the camera off so everybody knows he is not a tiny Chinese Asian woman. He's not in disguise. He is actually the gentleman you see on the screen there. Looks like Indian descent, Ketan?
Yes.
All right. So we believe that you are who you say you are. What is your experience with real estate investing?
Yes. So with real estate, it has been an interesting journey. I used to be a full-time pharmacist, and I started buying properties on the side, 2 units, 3 units, and my portfolio grew. And I realized that, why wait 5 years till I get the passive income to leave pharmacy? So then I started into multifamily syndication. I've raised over $10 million in the last few years. I've done flips, I've done luxury ground up development, and eventually I was a lot into self-development. So I merged all that and became a real estate coach.
Excellent. Give Katan a round of applause. So we had a great conversation. Had Katan on the podcast, and that episode will be coming out shortly. Unfortunately, again, you won't see his face, but he does have a very good professional image, and you get his voice, and that's really where all the magic was. So Katan, what are you seeing now? You've been through a lot. You've been a coach for a long time. What is your pivot? What are you seeing as the most beneficial thing for you personally with your skill set? And I know you weren't aware, based on the interview we had, you weren't aware of how talented you were at raising capital. When you raised 5 million, then you raised 10 million, you thought that's what everybody else was doing. It wasn't until your coach told you that, no, you're an exception. Nobody raises 10 million in 2 to 3 years. Fair to say, Katan?
Yes, absolutely. And I had a challenge with clarity, right? A lot of times when we are starting in the real estate, or even if we are growing, what happens is we always have these thoughts in the back of the mind, right? Should I keep flipping? Should I make money here? Is rental portfolio the good way? Am I lacking the strategy? What's going on? And that mess keeps you going round and round. So I decided years ago, the best way is to just go on full head on, try something, and you'll get the feedback. So for example, flipping, I made money, but it just wasn't for me. It's not in my skill set to deal with contractors. I'm not handy at all. It's just not my realm, right? But the only way, a lot of people, they just wait for the answer to come to them. And they don't just act and take action, which what gives you the feedback. But over the course of doing everything, I realized that for me, educating investors and educating other real estate entrepreneurs, that's my best talent. And it's what I'm really passionate about, and it's fun. So I slowly geared the business towards that angle. And I think a lot of the people on the call too, it's you want to get started as soon as you can on whatever the opportunity is in front of you. And as you move along, you'll get more and more clarity as to, what is your special gift? What do you really enjoy in the real estate sphere? Because there are so many facets.
Absolutely. So Katan, of all the things that you've done, what would you say earned you the most money? Is that a good, fair answer for a question to ask everybody? You think that's a good one to ask? All right. So Katan, would you say has earned you the most money over the last 5 years in real estate?
Over the last 5 years, so the thing is, it's a challenging question because I also have a senior care business that I sold just a couple months ago. For the last 5 years, I was just running it on passively. So I was pretty split even between my rental portfolio, between the syndication income, and then also the home helpers or my senior care business. And then, it's ebb and flow. So the flipping came in and out, but I didn't really do it for a whole long. It was a year and a half or so. But syndication, rental portfolio consistently generating good profits because I bought it at a good price and I saw the rent elevation. So I was able to refinance, add some units. So that definitely helped. And then some value add, piece of land, 5-unit property that I was able to reposition, that helped too.
So now the sale, obviously, anytime you sell a business, those are big chunks. So they're tough to ignore. So a lot of real estate investors will say, well, I was in this specialty, just like Katan just did, right? Just like you did, my friend. You said, I was in this specialty, so it's a little different, right? I had this self-care, home care business. So it's not really unique or special. But in reality, the sale of that business, that big capital gain, allowed you to do a lot more. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely that. And also what happens is I realized this years ago. When I was buying these rental properties, they were doing cash flow. I bought 2, 3, but I realized does not matter even if you save 50,000 a year or 100,000, you will be limited on what you could purchase. And years ago, I realized that unless I get good at figuring out how to connect with investors, get them into my deal, I would be limited. So to give you an example, I bought this deal. This was about 2, 3 years ago. It was 430,000. The bank was ready to loan me 300. I needed 130,000, which at the time I didn't have because I already bought another rental property, which was good. So I got a private investor, paid him 10% or so. He gave the 130,000. but later on I was able to sell the same property for 700,000 because it has a piece of land that I was able to do a separate parcel, right? So I paid him his money within 2 years selling the building, and I got the land piece for free. So you could capture opportunities that you are not able to. Now what happened was, then I realized, why buy these 5-unit buildings? Why spend the time and energy? Why don't I start raising more? So then I raised 500,000 for the first time for the apartment syndication. And then I got in with the group. Our group total, we have 800 to 900 million in assets, mostly in Texas and Florida, all value add apartment complexes. And then I saw the power. So if I really want, I have more than 100 investors in my database. I could go out there and buy buildings, but it's not my passion to really hunt for deals necessarily. Like, it's okay. I rather just find partners that works for my business model, right? So I realized the power that unlocks once you know how to connect with investors and show your track record and have them invest in your deals, even if it's flipping or rental portfolio or whatever, that you do.
So I love it. So Catan has a training course. If you're interested, I will absolutely connect anyone who's interested to learn how to raise capital, how to build your portfolio. Catan's been teaching for a while now. Catan, do I get a little referral fee if I send them over your way?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Everybody heard that now we're in a partnership. I love it. Mike Stein, I see you got a question for Catan.
No, it wasn't a question. Just wanna do the Catan thing because that's what I'm doing right now.
Give KP a round of applause. Phenomenal person to know. Phenomenal inspiration. He is killing it in this market. Has been. Everybody else will tell you it's been tough.
I do have a question for him. And it's for the people in here that are in the beginning of their journey. And you said clarity was one of your major blocks.
Yep.
That you had to work through. What are a couple other problems that you were facing? Because I think a lot of people in here in the beginning of their journey have some blocks, and they're not sure exactly how to say what they are or really recognize them.
Yes.
And they're feeling quite alone in it. So can you talk about just a little bit about what other things that you were facing when you were trying to build this thing?
Terry, great question. Absolutely. So the two biggest things that I see with people in the beginning, including myself, one is the fear. And the fear is not overt, it's covert. So you don't really know that. It's just deep down. So before I even bought my first or second rental property, I had passed on good 20 to 30 deals. They were all solid money maker, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. So fear, and it comes in interesting ways, right? It's different for everybody. Sometimes it would be, hey, what if you fail? You only have this one job and no savings and you have a family. Or what would people think? Or if this happens, my life's over. Everybody has, it's a different story that goes in the head. And same thing happened for me when I quit pharmacy and bought the senior care business. I knew nothing about that business. So the fear meter is running so high. Anything about this business, you have student loans and you're leaving a comfortable job to buy this. What are you doing, right? So you have to know, first of all, acknowledge the noise and say it's okay, because our brain's 2 million year old device and it's just a safety feature, but we are not in the wild. Tigers are not chasing us, but these things have the same effect as if the tigers are chasing. That's one. The second thing I see, a huge thing, is limiting belief. So if you think about it, all of us at one point were 1 cell or 2 cell. Can you even imagine from 2 cell we became a baby and a teen and an adult? Like, how the heck is that possible? It means there's something special in all of us. We all have gifts, but it's very easy to just believe in a limiting story that, maybe I'm not that smart, or, I was trained in pharmacy. What do I know about real estate? Or I do a sales job. Who am I to buy a property? We all have these stories in these beliefs. Or, you know, I grew up in an X amount of neighborhood or environment, and, you know, it makes sense when other people talk about it and they could do it, but, you know, for me, no. So that limiting belief gives you a crutch to stand on, so you don't have to take the responsibility and face yourself. So it's much easier, and I did that too, but it just robs you of your potential. So I think the fear and limiting beliefs, those things, once you reframe, sky's the limit.
Right. One of the things that I really like about what you were saying is those limiting beliefs, we actually don't realize they're limiting beliefs. We use them as reasons and we think they're real because, well, we believe them. And they all come from that fear that Catan is talking about, and we don't know it because the way he's talking about that deep, deep down fear, we don't realize it's a fear as much as it just makes sense. One of the things that I found a long time ago when I started working with people is there's people that talk about irrational beliefs. The problem is that they're not irrational. We've rationalized them all. We've made it all make sense in our head to not move forward and to not do a deal and to not buy in and to not move anywhere near that thing that triggers that fear. And it's kind of like we have a thorn in our finger, and just whatever we can do to protect against touching that thing, because it's going to hurt. Even if we remove it, it's going to hurt. And so the whole idea with what's going on with a lot of us when we're procrastinating and not moving forward and not being productive the way we want to is we're reacting to that limiting belief, and it's a fear down deep inside. And that's what real coaching, mentorship, and having these people that can help you walk through these deals is all about. And so anybody who really wants to move forward, you know, Catan's program, my program, Walter's program, you want to get with us because that's what we really help you do, is get rid of those blocks and move forward.
100%. I have to agree with you, because I was only able to do so much on my own. And I went to a real estate conference, and my plan wasn't to get a coach. I didn't knew about any of those things. And my coach, it happened to be trained by Tony Robbins. He's one of the 200, 300 people. And I really didn't knew much about self-development, whatnot. I thought I just need some tips and strategies for real estate. But then when somebody's outside of you, they could see things very clearly, the objective, subjective gap. And on your own, you know, you have to develop that skill until you could see those blind spots, right? And then constantly having bigger challenges to grow. So absolutely.
I love it. So we have Doug McGurk as one of our coaches. Doug, how long were you with Tony Robbins? How long were you traveling coach with Tony?
4 years the first time, and then I just spent a few months with him because he's our neighbor now. So I hooked him up and helped him out. The last live event he did, I supported.
So what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned from hanging out with Tony Robbins with, you know, obviously your real estate investing career? What would you say was the biggest tie-in for the two parts of your life there?
Proximity is power. That's the value of being in this mentorship, of getting on board with a program that has someone to give you the insight, the feedback, the resources, or access to them. Because everyone on this call has exactly what they need, or at least within their reach, to accomplish anything. What happens is, as we've, you know, Terry and Catan and everyone has shared, is that we have this internal dialogue that we can easily find other people to buy into. And there's enough evidence of problems in the world right now that then comes out as that covert fear, right? Well, yeah, but there's all these issues, and, you know, well, maybe now's not the best time. It's because there's going to be the election is coming up, you know, all that. So it's hanging around with people who are operating at another level that remind you what's possible because they're living it. I mean, that was the single biggest, benefit I ever did, was surround myself with people who their normal is what I aspire to.
I love that. Doug, what shirt are you wearing? What is that shirt right now?
Yeah, it's have you seen this before?
That looks like the 100 Millionaire shirt. That's a good shirt, man.
Spread the love. I'm suiting up for the calls, brother.
So all the coaches, all the 100 millionaires rocking the same 100 millionaires shirt. So if you're a coach in the program, you've committed to building 100 millionaires. Once you've jumped in with us, we send you the shirt. You hang out with us on Monday nights at 8 p.m., working with our mentorship members, pushing them through the program, pushing them through their weaknesses, their strengths, and getting them to their goals. I want to say big special thanks to Catan. I've got a couple of minutes. If Mike Shine, you got a second to talk about the book of the week by Viktor Frankl.
Okay, so book of the week. Hang on one second. Sorry.
Yeah, I got you last minute there. Sorry,
No,
brother.
that's okay. Man's Search for Meaning. In the whole list of 52, this is the toughest book for me. It's written by Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust concentration camps. And so the whole first half of the book is just descriptions of what happened in the camps, and it's hard to read or listen to. But what he figured out based on it was that the people that survived had a why and had and accepted what couldn't be changed, but realized that they could make a decision based on what was going on. They had to accept the situation, but then there was that space in between where you decide how to react to something. And I think that that's why Walter picked it for this one. It's a really good book. It's heavy. I think that everybody should read it anyways, just because it's a good education in what happened when human beings are cruel to other human beings. But it's also a great one to show that no matter what you're facing, it can't be what these people were facing, and they were able to conquer it and survive and get to the next level. So it's a tough one to read, but I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. You're always very good at delivering the book of the week. And I know that this one was tough for you. It was for me as well. I don't normally read books that talk about negative or I guess this was just a very real situation that happened, just, human beings at their worst. But what he survived, what he went through, like Mike said, is something you never want to imagine, something you never want to experience for yourself. So read the book. We're in a mission, 52 Weeks to Wealth. Every single one of you who has joined our mentorship program has the opportunity to join our 52 Weeks to Wealth. Whether or not you're in the mentorship program, I put the challenge out when I wrote the book, Broke to $250,000. And in the book, I'd let everybody know I read 52 books a year. I'm at over 300 books right now and going strong. I love what I do. I love the knowledge. I love the speakers. And when I started it, it was one of my good habits. It was one of the things I could change about myself. It was one of the things I had power over. I could change what I was putting into my mind. I could change the content that I had. I could change the books. And so I started putting in good quality books, and it made a difference. I started putting in good quality coaches, mentors, friends, people who are doing the same things as me. I am so blessed to have people like Catan, Terry, Mike, Mitch, Doug, Ron, Darina, people around us who are dedicated to building other people up. I did not have those people in 2017. Does that make sense? Just 3 years ago, just a short time ago. 2017, I exploded. I started meeting everybody. I started pushing. I started saying, you know what? You're worthy of having my influence in your life, right? You and I are both worthy of each other. You and I can move forward together. We can get more done if we work together. And Katan's got his information in the chat below. So if you're interested, reach out to him. Just make sure you put the special word, Walter and Rose, referral, hook a brother up. Get that little kickback, which is completely legal in the coaching world. In fact, that's how we live. This book is one of many. This principle is one of many. Take this principle to heart. Whatever you're at, wherever you're at in this business, you can do more. You can be a part of more. I've got to go meet with about 22 of my tenants at 12 o'clock. So I'll be jumping out of here around 11:20. But we're going to open up this next section to any questions that you have about the concept of accept what can't be changed and create an advantage, any challenges that you're having with it. Next week, Principle 35 is create an awesome team around you. And like Mike said, the book is traction. Without an awesome team, it's hard to make a lot of money. With an awesome team, it's hard not to make a lot of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Walter's such a good book, Traction. Yeah, if you have an organization of any size, Traction. Such a good book.
Mike, this is why you're the guy who brings the books of the week, because you love them just as much as we do. Give Mike Shine a round of applause. Give Katan Patel a round of applause. Terry Wager, give Terry a round. Doug McGurk, appreciate your input. I'd like to get some input from the other coaches. Darina, if you're on the call, what would you say about Wealth Principle 34, accept what can't be changed and create an advantage? What have you done in 2020 to take advantage of that? And then Mitch Jorsky right after her, and then Ryan McDermott, if you're still here.
Yes.
Darina.
Yeah, so that was unexpected. And I immediately started following very, very closely Robert Kiyosaki, who put a lot of content out there to motivate the people and business owners. And he said, don't waste a crisis, use it as an opportunity. And that was my motto for the rest of the year. So I guess I eliminated all the noises, concentrated on my investors, my community, and that really helped me to thrive in this market. And I was, it's really just looking for like, okay, this cannot be changed. Like, there's nothing to do with me, the COVID thing. I cannot travel. Okay, if I cannot travel, maybe I can work on my mind, do meditation. I started doing 75 hard. That really helped mentally and physically. And then, who do I work with? Who can I work with? Who is my people? And I focused on that, and I saw some results later on. So that's, don't waste the crisis. If Robert Kiyosaki, someone you like and follow, he said that, and I was like, you know what? I'll just take that and move along with that. So
it's true. Give the round of applause. Robert Kiyosaki said, don't waste the crisis.
yeah.
Everybody else is saying, oh man, crisis, can't get shit done. And Robert's like, oh my God, crisis, can't wait to get shit done. This is insane, the amount of opportunity. It's just a matter of picking one at this point. Just picking one and running with it. How many people do we know who got rich off of Purell, right? Off of rubbing alcohol in gel form, or the different ways to sanitize or clean, or restaurant like Domino's. Man, Domino's has had to hire so many people because they do delivery. It's insane. Mitch Jorsky, what's your take on the lesson? Wealth Principle 34.
It's funny because it holds true, pandemic or not. And it's something that I have to constantly remind myself of. And that's that you make money in real estate by solving problems. So obviously with COVID, more problems kind of popped up in terms of just being able to do deals. And, it's easy to get frustrated day to day. And, personally, I know I had moments where I was complaining about, oh, this sucks because of whatever, and this delay and that. And I was supposed to refi 3 months ago, and now I can't because all the lenders like just tightened up and won't do anything. And it's like, well, guess what? Everyone else is dealing with those problems. So it's called an opportunity to make money. So if you make money by solving problems, when there's actually more problems, that's more of an opportunity to make money or have success. So that's something that I personally try to remind myself of, and I think everyone else should keep in the back of their minds. And we talked a little bit about that earlier. You had mentioned about, things with estoppels and, tired landlords and all that stuff. And, I'm doing a deal now where that's the case, tired landlord. And, I'm getting estoppels done for that, and, getting the last 12 months of rental deposits and all that stuff. So, you got to do that, due diligence, do your research, do whatever you can to mitigate risk. But 2, accept the risk. In any investment, there's risk. You got to accept the risk, because if you don't accept the risk, you're not going to do it well. This whole, this is something that was preached when I was a full-time day trader. If you don't accept the risk, you're probably going to end up losing money, because all you're doing is focusing on being scared of losing this money or time or whatever it is you're investing. So that's why it's like goes back to not only what you can't control, but accepting what is. So accept that there's a risk. If you're not willing to accept that risk, then you're really not comfortable making that investment. So, that, and just, again, recognizing that problems are an opportunity to not just make money, but progress. And solving problems is how most of us have success over others, is that we're willing to solve these problems. We're willing to deal with these problems. We look at the problems as opportunities. So I think those are two things to really, keep in mind. And then as far as, people during like COVID, when it first kicked off, and kind of, I don't know, being tied down, it was an opportunity to learn. If you were a new real estate investor, you should have spent all that time analyzing properties on paper. So you got to the point where something pops up, you're able to run through it like that. And obviously, most people know I have a rental property calculator on my website, so it's free to use. If you're not using it, I don't know what you're doing, but you should be analyzing properties and get to the point where someone can bring you a property and you can almost kind of do it in your head, and then you just use the calculator to kind of confirm what you believe the numbers will look like. And that's just an example for real estate, obviously. So yeah, it's really all I can add.
Phenomenal, Mitch. It's so true that real estate has really changed in the last couple of months as far as lenders, who's lending, what's lending, what deals are available, what is causing problems. The problems have changed, but as long as you've been able to pivot and solve those problems faster, you've had more opportunity, just like us. And we have a refinance that's been going since February. We've jumped a bunch of lenders. The deals, the opportunities have fallen apart, changed hands, and we're still running this refinance. But fortunately, we bought the portfolio well enough where we can handle it even at 12% interest. We can still break even. Now, as soon as the refinance is done, Ron, how much do we save? Is it $8,000 a month?
Yeah, it's like $8,000 a month.
So no big deal, whatever. It's a couple bucks. And so we'll feel better once the refinance is done. But we bought it well enough we could handle it. Do you know how many other investors out there did not do that? Investors who needed that refinance, who are falling apart at the seams because they didn't do the refinance. There's opportunities all over the place right now. People whose businesses are at a halt because commercial lending froze up. Could be your opportunity. If it goes a little longer, it could be an opportunity for you to jump in, grab those deals, things that were good deals. You may buy them cheaper than they bought them. There's an opportunity out there, and they may have done the renovations. There's an opportunity coming. You've just got to be patient. You've got to be looking. If you're not looking for the property, if you're not able to finance the property, you're never going to get a deal. So when I say wait, I don't mean close your eyes and hope it all looks good. I'm saying hunt, look, seek out, get your money lined up, get your finances lined up, stack up money in the bank, go and put in offers. And that's how you wait, right? Ron and I, it's called passive waiting. Every single day we're looking for opportunities. We're teaching people how to find us deals. We're looking for more ways to do more deals, more ways to sell the properties we already have. We have 6 condos for sale. We got, I think, 5 more or 6 more multifamilies we're going to put on the market, just a couple of flips that we're doing. And, for us, whether or not they sell is no big deal. But if they do sell faster, we make more money and we can do more deals. Does that make sense? You want to find ways to do just a little bit more in this market right now. And Terry, I'll bring you on, but there was one other coach that I wanted to grab. Lily, are you still here? No, Lily jumped off.
Can you do that?
And Terry, what do you got?
She's left.
Yeah, and Ryan took his daughter to soccer.
Ryan's such a good dad.
He's awesome. Cool. Real quick, I just wanted to add into what you were saying. If everyone noticed, he kind of preached something that holds true regardless of good market, bad market, COVID, no COVID. You make money when you buy. Seriously, you just talked about the example about how you guys bought and why you make money when you buy. It doesn't matter. Pandemic, great market, 2008 crash. It doesn't matter. You make money when you buy. So, keep that in mind. And, if you need help understanding how to buy right, well, that's what I'm here for.
There you go. Terry, when you cough into the camera, it actually puts the camera on your face. So now you have to say something.
Yeah, well, that's my whole strategy. I just cough a little right before I speak. Mike Shine was going to say something. Mike, do you want to say something before I take over?
Go ahead.
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I'm a coach. No,
Mike Sean,
I did
what
want
would
to
you
say
like to say?
in this in COVID, I've got a 4-unit commercial that I just got under contract, and I don't think I would have gotten a price for this if it had not been for COVID. So you accept that COVID's happening, but there are opportunities out there, and of course, people are going to say, "Oh, that's risky. Nobody's going back to commercial." But I'm taking the risk because I see in a couple of years this is going to be a property that people say, "Wow, you got that for that price." Yeah. So awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
So
Mike, you are a coach, and for some reason, I felt like we learned so much from you all the time. Give Mike Shine, holistic attorney, round of applause.
I
So
also
one of the things I wanted to circle back with this idea of acceptance is super important because we talk about acceptance as like, you just got to do it. Like if you're cutting vegetables, you just got to pick up the knife and do it. But it's really a skill. And I want you guys to really imagine thinking about if you did not have a knife, you would have to actually go and find somebody who sells knives, find which knife would be the best knife to get, and then purchase the knife, and then go and learn how to use it so you don't chop your fingers off. And then you got to practice using the knife until you get really good so you can be at, one of our levels where we're just, it's a skill. Acceptance is a skill. You have to learn it. And if you're having problems with pulling the trigger on things, it's a sign that you're lacking acceptance and you're lacking the skill of acceptance. If you're having head trash, if you're having your head talk to you, it's a sign that you don't have the acceptance necessary, and you have to learn that skill. If you have any kind of blocks going on, it's an acceptance of what's going on right in the moment issue. And that's what good coaches really focus on, is helping you to learn how to have that skill of acceptance so you can really move forward to be your best self, to be the high performer, to be the successful person. And so it's really about learning how to accept the things you cannot change, and then learning how to accept that we need to learn this stuff. We need to pay for the different things that we need to pay for, just like if you had to go buy a knife. You have to pay for what you got to learn. And when you start investing in yourself and you start learning how to actually do this stuff, that's where success happens. It is an exchange, but it's all about what you put in, you get back out.
I love it. Give Terry a round of applause. It's phenomenal. The mindset is just one of those pieces. So for everybody in the mentorship, give yourselves a round of applause for investing in yourselves. Again, I love seeing you guys every Saturday, the graduates, the 100 millionaires, the future millionaires. At some point, it all changes. It all turns over and everything it's in the past. And it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm here where I'm at. But right now, just the amount of time we've spent together, for everybody in the mentorship program, the amount of time we've gotten to spend working together on your business, on your investments, it means a lot to us. It really does. I know all the coaches, you could see us, we're all fighting over the chance to talk and give as much information as we possibly can. Look at Mike right now, right? we're all trying to give as much as we possibly can. And we see it in you too, right? Especially the people who are close to making $1 million, the people who've already made $1 million. You have that same desire to give back. You have that same desire to teach and train and give other people knowledge. It's okay. It's okay to want that. That's what Catan was saying earlier. After, making all the money he's made, he realized he'd rather coach. He'd much rather really build that business. And I've said the same thing to Ron. Like if I had to start all over, give everything up, I would just do a coaching business, and I would just teach something that I really enjoy, which happens to be wealth development. And obviously I'd always invest in real estate. It's the easiest thing for me to do, but I don't need a ton of time to do it because I know who to hire, what to hire. Like real estate investing for me is as simple as that's the area I'm investing in. That's the type of property I'm investing in. Here's my property manager. I don't have to think about it anymore. Set the wholesalers off, and the system works for itself. And I'd probably just build a coaching business. Does that make sense? Until you get to that point, it's whatever your best skill is. You know, we have Manny on here, who's a software developer, and software is what makes sense for him. Or you're an engineer, right, Manny?
Yeah, both me and Raj, both software engineers.
So software engineers. So if you had to start a business, that's the business. And then the next level business is you're looking to develop a bunch of units, a bunch of projects, developments. It's the same as Melanie. Melanie owns Subways. And so for her, that's a stream of income, and she likes real estate investing. And so Raj, if you were to start all over, you'd probably be a software developer, right? You'd start your own business, right? Like you guys are talking about doing, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
So give Manny and Raj a round of applause. Some of our newer members, love having you guys here. It is fun.
Just to add, so Raj actually, she just launched her website, so it's live.
Yeah.
So
put the link in the chat for us, Manny.
Okay,
put the link in there.
So
awesome. Give these guys a round of applause. They're doing amazing things.
all right.
Mike Shine, I see your hand. I'm calling on you.
I just want to say, because I didn't really get to say, I was just talking about the commercial real estate being a benefit. But for me, and you and I were actually talking about this yesterday, the fact that we don't have to go to all these different places and meetings, that we can stay. I'm spending, for me personally, it's a little different than you, but I'm spending a lot more time with my family and my kids. And I just feel really blessed by what has happened because of that. You know, it's just, I mean, I know COVID is terrible, but in my life, it's made a lot of the family closer, and just feel really blessed about that type of stuff. So that's an awesome.
I agree. Give Mike Shine a round of applause. So I love the live events. It's how I built my business. I love networking. I love all the RIAs, the real estate investor events. And when I was starting, I was in Worcester, I was in Newton, I was in Boston, North Boston, South of Boston, in Rhode Island. I was going to New Bedford, Fall River, Middleborough. I was going to 8 different events every single week, killing myself, driving all across the state. Every Thursday was booked at an event. And now, if somebody asks me to speak at an event, I'm like, is it live or is it on Zoom? Because if it's on Zoom, I'm there. And if it's live, I'll still go. But man, like I would just rather do 3 events in one day instead of now I've got to think about how long it takes me to drive there. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Where it's just so much easier to do these and connect with way more people, way faster. It's just such an efficient piece that came out of this. So questions or comments? I've got a few more minutes before I jump off. I want to go prepare myself to sell some condos to my tenants. Another opportunity, by the way. I'd rather sell to my tenants, and I'll sell to my tenants at a discount. Oh, Ron, I see your hand. Ron, what do you got?
All right. A lot of people like to put a lot of stuff in the chat. And I just want to let you know that if you don't know, you can click on the little 3 dots at the bottom of the chat and click Save Chat, and we'll save it in a nice little, well, ugly little text file for you. You'll have all that information.
Thank you, Ron Bowling. Give Ron Bowling a round of applause. He's in the 1%, 1% of units. So here's some goal setting. 1% of net worth is $12 million. So in order to get to the top 1%, I write it down, $12 million net worth. Yeah, I know. It used to be more. I used to be less. It used to be a little more attainable, but that's okay. The income of the top 1% is only 400,000. So that's not too bad. That's an easier goal to hit, I think, than the net worth of 12 mil. But Ron and I will be there in 2 more years. So we have a plan to double our net worth every year. And in 2 more years, we'll hit that 12 million. How cool is that to be able to say things like that with confidence? Yes? Awesome. You don't give me a round of applause. You're capable of it too. That's the craziness. Whatever you're at right now, you can double within a year. You got a whole year to do it. It's not that bad. And trust me, the next year, you're going to think the same things. When you're at 2.4 million, you're like, oh, damn, like, how do I get to 5? When you're at 5, you're like, oh, damn, how do I get to 10? It doesn't change. You've just got to evolve a little bit. You just adjust a little bit. And I promise it's possible for you. I've been doing it consistently for years. 4 years. I did the math. This is how I started. Okay, write this down. I want you to do the math on your own. I'm going to log off in just a little bit, but I want you to take this math home with you. Write down the number 26. And that number represents years. If it took you 26 years to become a billionaire, would it be worth it? Hands to the camera if it'd be worth it to become a billionaire in 26 years. Cool. Excellent. I'm glad we agree. Write down the next number, 26. That's dollars. If you start with $26 and you double it for 26 years, you could become a billionaire. How cool is that? It doesn't take much to start with. It just takes one principle in your head that says, I'm going to start. Whatever you're at right now, if you set the goal to double it, don't go crazy. Don't go beyond means, right? Just double it. Whatever it is. I remember thinking at $2,000, holy shit, how do you double $2,000, right? I remember that far back, it was a problem, right? It doesn't get any easier. It's just, you have 2,000 because that's what you're used to, right? Or you have $1 million because that's what you're used to. Going from $1 million to $2 million, it's like, woo, how do we do it? It's the same as going from 2,000 to 4,000. Or for some of you, it may be 20 for your kids, right? It may be $26. How do I double $26 right now? Anybody got children? Know of children? Have seen them before? Yes. So for them, money's magical. They have no clue how this thing works. And for them, $26, if that's sitting in their jar, they don't even know how it got there. They know mommy and daddy put it in there somehow. Yes, fair to say? So for them, doubling it could be work. If you've got kids, go and count their jar and hit them with the question, how can you double it this year? And come back next week. If you're in the mentorship program, I want that put it in the Facebook group. Let me know what your kids said to you. Let me know what the ideas they had. And if ask mommy and daddy for the money is their first answer, they're on the right track. They already understand OPM. Other people's money, right? OPM. Every dollar you've ever collected was once in the hands of somebody else. Every dollar you've ever taken into your bank account, into your properties, into your stock account, into your investments, into your business was in the hands of somebody else at some other point. What you did was negotiate, contract, deal with somebody to say, at some point, I'm going to do something that you're going to find is worthy enough for you to hand me those dollars, sign the dotted line, shook the handshake, and you put a deal together. Whether you're hourly, commission-based, whether you did a flip, you did something of value for somebody else, and they agreed to pay you a certain amount. Hands to the camera if you know what that looks like. Yes? That's how money works. You didn't make it. You didn't create it. You created value. You did something valuable, but money can't be made. That's illegal. It's done by the government. They make the money. They print the money. We just recollect that which has already been made for other people. It's already in circulation. All you're doing is going out there and collecting again. That makes sense? Excellent. Except what can't be changed. You cannot make money, but you can collect it. Create an advantage. Find something you can do in this market right now that puts it in your pocket, makes it easier, adds your value. Like if you start with $26, 26 years from now, if you just double it, if you just keep doubling it, you can be a billionaire. You got to ask yourself, at what point did I stop doubling my money? Why did I stop? And just get back on track. Does this make sense? People who've built wealth for themselves, you know that at some point you were pushing hard. It was stacking up. The cake was stacking, and it got to a point where it just wasn't moving the way it used to move. That's because you hit your threshold. It's time you hit that devil, right? Every level has another devil. It's time to push past it, get to the next level. And it may be doing something just a little bit different, just adding a little more value to the universe. And if you're hourly, okay, you can't work any more hours. That's fair to say. But there's something else you can do. There's something else. Like Raj just put a website up. Give Manny and Raj again another round of applause. Phenomenal job. Their website's in the chat. Go check it out. She's an app developer. She's got a very supportive husband. And they're going to be some massive real estate investing tycoons looking to partner up with us on some deals. Actually, they're we're borrowing some money off of them. Wow, messed that up. So we're lending. Where are our lenders? We got other lenders on here. People we've borrowed money from. Yes. Thank you. We appreciate you. I know you appreciate the checks. We don't mind writing them every month. It's like, yep, pass it. Make it rain. Make it rain.
And another thing, Doctor, we are here to develop any websites, apps. You know, you guys don't need to go to offshore now. We will give you the best prices compared to offshores. So we are here to answer every question.
Look at them adding value in a market where people need websites. Entrepreneurs need websites. It's time to get online. Absolutely. Thank you, man. Raj, you got your contact in there? You guys put your contact if somebody wanted a website?
Yeah, we'll add the contact. We put the website, so it has all the information you can contact to there.
Awesome.
The phone number and the email, everything is there.
Go ahead, add it again if you can.
I will. Yeah.
What questions? What questions? Go ahead, Melissa.
I have one that's not necessarily on the topic of this. Is it okay?
I'll let it pass.
Okay. So I have a friend who's wondering how to get started in property management.
They want to property manage themselves?
I think maybe.
Okay. I have them do the disc profile. If they are a DC personality, then they can continue. If they are anything else, then they're just trying to make money. And they should get a partner who's a DC personality.
Okay.
So if they're like an IS and they want to be a property manager, then they're the salesperson who brings in business, but they are not the property manager. Get a partner.
Okay.
So property management is a very easy business if you have a DC personality running the show, because they're direct, they're quick, they're able to evaluate, they have a no bullshit attitude. Property management is a tough business. You got to be tough as nails to do it. I could do it if I wanted to, but I much rather sell because I have a lot of I in me. I'm a much better salesperson than a manager of people. And so when we did the property management company, Ron and I both realized we don't want to manage people. We're getting out of this. This is not the thing for us, right? But I know people who do very well. Our property manager is a DC personality, right? Direct, controlling, cautious. It's easy for her. And she treats people with respect. She has a system around talking to people, and she does a phenomenal job. So Melissa, if your friend of mine wants to, is that DC personality, let them run it. Honestly, the first step is just be the right person. If you can get to that tough state, managing property is easy. It really is. You just fix everything on the budget and make sure the tenants are paying. Get the property management license, just get a real estate license, or jump in with a company who's already doing it. I would not start a property management company. I go work for one of the best and learn how they do it and just copy what they do. Like if you want to own a restaurant, go work for McDonald's, right? Work for the best restaurant owner, the biggest in the world, and figure out how they built it, how they franchised, right? Or if you want to open a Subway, go work for Melanie. Like go say, Melanie, I'll work for you for free. I'm looking to open a Subway one day. Would you please let me work for free for you? And she would teach you, right, Mel? Fair to say? The boots on the ground. It's called the Boots on the Ground coaching program. Melanie's putting it up for Subways and she's buying more now. You pay her and then she'll let you work for free for 3 months in a manager's position and see how you do. So good question, Melissa. Do you have a follow-up question to that?
No, not this time.
Awesome. Well, you usually do. So just making sure you get that ability. Ryan McGovern.
How scared would you be of a house that had a car drive partially into it, crumble part of the foundation, and the front right part of the house needs to be jacked up? How scared would you be of that?
It's location. So I did have a house at one point that was prone to being hit by cars because it was right on the corner. So one, there's a tree in the front yard now that's a pretty massive tree, and there's a telephone pole there. So there's like a couple of things that stop it. Is it likely the house will be hit again by a car?
No, it shouldn't have happened.
So we handled that. All right. So it wasn't location. At that point, I would say you're getting a really good discount. I wouldn't be afraid of it. Just bring in the structural crew and let the structural engineers take a look at it and get a quote from them, get 2 or 3 quotes from them on what it would cost to repair. But that is just an exciting project at best. That's like Saeed's fire burnt houses, Ryan. You're as cool as Saeed now. Dude, like, only buys things that are burnt down, right?
Yeah, I looked at a house about an hour ago, and the offers are due tonight. It's an off-market one, so I can't
I
really.
got a question. Ryan, does it come with the car in the house still?
No, unfortunately.
Oh.
No.
That would have added a little more value. Like, did you take pictures of the house?
I did. You want me to send them over to you?
Yeah, if you could post them in the group for everybody. So I think that everybody will have fun seeing that later on. Post in the Alchemist Mentorship group so we can all check it out.
Yeah, I need advice on it because I'm going to be putting in an offer, but I'm figuring in worst case.
Figure in
somewhere
worst
around
case
20,000 to.
Yeah.
Yeah, figure it's going to be around 20 grand to resupport that side, redo some of the foundation. I mean, it just needs to be resealed up. It kind of crumbled a little bit, so overall it's not bad. But you can see some of the house shifted a little bit, so there is some concern, but I don't see it being too much.
I agree, Ryan. Go low ball. It may be 25, 30,000 to do that structural work. Hold on. I'm in the chat now.
Yeah.
And I see we're having a conversation.
It's been taken over by Monty Python.
What is this?
It's taken over by Monty Python because he said it was just a flesh wound.
So somewhere along the line, I missed something. So it's just a flesh wound. Sounds like Boca Raton, the Holy Handmaid of Antioch. And Jennifer, how do we tie it into real estate? How do we go back and tie it in? Jennifer, you unmute? No, you're still muted. There you go.
Just the castle in the swamp, you know, when the father's trying to get the son to marry the daughter, the woman is like huge tracts of land. That part.
You're right. There is real estate in the movie.
Right?
What? Someday all of this will be yours. What? The curtains? No, not the curtains.
I love it. So on that note, I love you guys. Seriously, this is one of my most favorite parts of the week. So cheers to your success. Thank you for hanging out with us. Coaches, thank you for all the time you dedicate. For everybody in the mentorship program, I love every effort that you put into your success. I love hearing your wins. I love holding you accountable. I love seeing your success. I love seeing you guys partnering with each other, building up each other. Going out, Melanie went out for a walk with Dorina last night. I love seeing the girls all get together. That whole, it's like a little alchemist women's group that's, you know, taking a mind of its own, building up each other and supporting each other. Seeing the Rhode Island section just getting together and building up. It's really powerful what this community is becoming. And I appreciate each and every one of you who dedicates your time to yourself, to your growth, and to the growth of the people around you, donating time and charity and education. Mitch Jorski with his tracker, Terry with his mindset, the coaches, the students, you guys are amazing. For everybody who is yet to join, well, what's holding you back? It's only $1,000. Only two months of your life, 8 weeks of kicking your ass, moving to the next level. For the agents on here who take our leads, we appreciate you. Greg, I see you, brother. Melanie, Melissa, Ken Hoffman, the agents who are taking leads, doing deals for us. Elizabeth, we appreciate you. Thank you. Helping our clients get to the next level. For the investors, wholesalers who are sending us deals, thank you. We're closing on them. We appreciate it. Give Mike Shine, the holistic attorney, a round of applause for closing all the deals for us. We appreciate how much knowledge, how many calls you take, all the text messages, the videos you send, a lot of information, a lot of knowledge in this group. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best.
Always work with the best.
Work with the best.
Hell yeah.
Oh, is that?
Later, guys.